Hey, everybody. Anyone who's followed my content knows that one of my often said phrases is trust but verify. I say this because grifters will lie to you, and often. The more they profess their honesty, the bigger the lie. And grifters are everywhere, especially with the economy going sideways. With that in mind, this video is not made for any purpose beyond that of a public service announcement. And if any grifter gets their feelings hurt or feels bullied by this video, that is not my intent. And further, I encourage you to send me a note if this is the case, and I will be happy to Amazon you some Vagisil. Never let it be said, I never cared for the disabled. With that out of the way, I know there's an issue in the manosphere PUA dating coach circles. It's mainly between two groups of individuals, those who support Rollo Tomasi, aka George Miller, and those who support Anthony Johnson. The primary reason for the fallout of these groups is that Mr. Miller got caught doxing event goers of Mr. Johnson's 21 convention to a feminist journalist. Specifically, he doxed the location and identities of attendees of a 21 convention after-hours get-together. The feminist journalist then ambushed the attendees and speakers at this event, hoping to trigger them into embarrassing themselves, and, for the most part, she failed. However, in true loyal female fashion, when pressed, she admitted that it was Mr. Miller who doxed the location of the 21 convention after-hours party. This is confirmed by multiple witnesses at the event and the group of individuals Mr. Johnson used to investigate this incident in its aftermath. While normally this would be a drama-only issue, given that Antifa and BLM fanatics are prone to use similar tactics to harass and assault their detractors, Mr. Johnson was deeply concerned that he or his attendees might be assaulted by someone who may attempt to murder them. There are many well-documented incidences of this around the country, so this was a credible concern, and even more so for Mr. Johnson, who makes his primary living as a MAGA-styled event promoter. Now, there were a lot of accusations flowing back and forth between these two groups, but those are the facts I can personally verify, because I personally saw evidence of it. Anthony showed me emails, and I personally interviewed others involved behind the scenes, because I do my due diligence to verify what people tell me, rather than just take them at face value. After I personally investigated, I made 2 videos as entertaining public service announcements to warn others about this new style of doxing. With that said, I have to ask you, the viewer, tell me, if you attended a conference promoting positive masculinity and a mass shooter arrived, like what happened at Boulder, Colorado recently, or an armed gunman arrived, like what happened recently in Atlanta, or someone tried to run you down with a vehicle of peace, like what recently happened at the Capitol, and you knew those perpetrators were either persons of color, radical leftists, or those who hated American values, would you want your information to be doxed? To that point, let's say some leftist journalist from the New York Times, the employer of the journalist I just mentioned, decided to dox you, and they contacted your employer. Could you survive being fired from your job for your American patriotism? Again, this is a very valid concern, as we saw from the aftermath of the January 6, 2021 MAGA protests. Many of the attendees were doxed, fired from their jobs, and blacklisted in their career industries. While they didn't lose their lives and the lives of their families were definitely destroyed anyway. All because they supported constitutional civil rights. Civil rights, I might add, that the left used to staunchly defend. In fact, most of the best case law regarding civil rights on the books today is because of left-wing lawfare. Kind of ironic how things change, isn't it? While these issues aren't the subject of this video, it's important to know the verifiable history to ensure you, the viewer, have all the relevant facts at your disposal before passing judgment. And that brings me to Edwin Hopkins, affectionately known to his undercover brother boyfriends as Special Ed. Full disclosure, I really don't have any clue if the pet name his boyfriends call him is Special Ed. I just wanted to put that out there. But Special Ed is a perfect example of a purple-pilled power bottom, a term I coined a few years ago. A purple pill power bottom is a guy who cosplays as an alpha Chad, but he's not. And as you will see, not only has Mr. Hopkins verifiably lied about his alpha status, but he's also not even a genetic alpha. He's admitted this in the past on videos. He's so not alpha that he has to take testosterone shots to enhance his masculinity. Now, I don't know if these shots are organic or if they're applied orally or anally like most men in the gay community, but he has admitted in the past on camera that he does take them. But even this is not the reason this public service announcement video is being made. You see, Special Ed masquerades as a prominent self-made dating coach in the PUA community. The only problem is if you're looking for a dating coach, you're never going to hear the name Edwin Hopkins. This is because he goes by a false identity online and pretends it's his real name. It's not like me. My online moniker is DDJ, but I'm never going to pretend it's the name on my driver's license. In fact, since I've doxed myself to file my lawsuit against Google and YouTube in 2019, I've never denied that my name is Bob Lewis. No, Edwin Hopkins uses a different online name, whose first name starts with a D and his last name starts with an S. Now, if you guessed dipshit, you're wrong, but not by much. You see, Special Ed has made multiple videos critical of the MGTOW community, and while this is nothing new for dating coaches and other drama marketers, the irony is at the core of Special Ed's teachings that you can purchase on his website, donovansharp.com. Focus on MGTOW wisdom that is freely obtained from a plethora of MGTOW and other red-pilled content creators. A prominent one is the old school blog called No Ma'am, which contains what may be the Bible of red-pilled wisdom that nearly all PUAs, dating coaches, and other frauds like Special Ed plagiarize their content from. Now, if that was the only disagreement I had with Special Ed, I still wouldn't be making this public service announcement. No, the reason I'm making this PSA is because Special Ed appears to be a verifiable con man, according to arrest.org, Mugshots Online, and bustedmugshots.com. Now, I don't want you to take my word for it. Go to those websites yourself. Look for yourself. Verify for yourself. Special Ed, aka Edwin Hopkins, has been arrested for financial identity theft multiple times and passing bad checks. For those in the back, those are crimes that are the bread and butter of any career con man. Now, with that in mind, let's go take a look at those websites. All right, so this website is Mugshots Online, and this is Special Ed right here. From 2011, he was booked for writing what's called a worthless check or a bad check. Okay, now this one here is another one, and now I want to make sure that's not the same date. 12/22, 12/20. Okay, it's the same mugshot, or I should say it's the same date and mugshot, but it's from a different website called bustedmugshots.com. Now, there are other photos there, and we'll kind of get to that in a minute. Like this one right here, for example. This one's from Mugshots Online, and looks like it's from 2010. And I can tell from that photo that Special Ed probably had giant abs. And then this one here, don't get me wrong, like I've had weight issues in the past as well. You know, we all have our challenges, you know, and mine were from injuries. I don't know what his were from, but whatever. But the thing is that, like, you look at this one at arrest.org, and this is really the one that takes the case. So if we come right here, we click that open, we scroll down here, there's Special Ed in his suit and tie, or slacks and tie. Financial identity theft, okay? Right there. And this is from 2010. Now, there's another one down here, again, same thing from 2008, financial identity theft. Now, today, Special Ed has evolved his grift. Today, he's come out with the circle jerk of many emasculated grifters, otherwise known as the Conference of Masculine Excellence. Now, my concern here isn't that he's holding a special needs convention. I congratulate all special needs individuals that can put an event together like this, complete with wheelchair access. No, my main concern here is his convention terms of service. Okay, let's take a look at that. This is the Conference of Masculine Excellence terms of service. Now, if you look here, and I'll show you in just a second, there are no business entities listed. There is no business address listed. It's like he went to legaltemplates.com and printed out something, then modified it. Well, on the surface, it appears to be a standard adhesion contract. It has no jurisdictional entity clause or any credible way to challenge it if Special Ed doesn't keep up his end of the contract. So we scroll through it again. Okay? There's no refund policy here, by the way. And I encourage everybody to look at this. This is masculineexcellence.com/WP-content/uploads/2021/03 terms.pdf. He might change this as a result of this video, and that's okay because I have a copy of it. But that said, you scroll through it, it talks about the terms of the agreement. Now, usually in the beginning, you have like the parties to the agreement on any official legal contract. You'll have, you and us type of thing. So if you look at this one, you have the user is you, and then you have the event organizer, but it never identifies who the event organizer is. Now, we know it's special ed because he kind of identifies himself later on. I think there's like an email. It's a very professional Gmail account or something along those lines. And then there's a table of contents, apparently, because, those contracts need tables of contents. And then he skipped a few spaces here. I think that might have been a formatting issue. And of course, who are you buying from? The event organizer. Doesn't say who. Doesn't say the identity. It just says Sharp Assist. Okay. Nobody's identified here. And the pricing and availability, it's like $1,000 for a standard event pass, and it's $2,000 for the VIP, which includes hotel room. Which, by the way, in Orlando, hotels are a little bit more expensive than they are in Las Vegas, especially with COVID, where everybody is desperate to get out, and Las Vegas has cut its prices massively. And that's where this event's supposed to be supposed to be held in Las Vegas. Now, that said, price is subject to change, order confirmation and processing, again, pending, confirmed, number of ticket limits, COVID-19. And then it says, events are canceled. If the events are canceled, no ticket refunds or returns will be provided. But they're going to credit you for a similar ticket at a future date. Now, if I remember correctly, somebody else tried this, but there was no future date. In other words, go play hide and go fuck yourself. We're not giving you anything. I want you to read this contract for yourself because it looks like a scam. More to the point, it's so unconscionably one-sided that it appears to be unenforceable in any court of law. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I have worked in the legal field for 25 years. I would be deeply concerned about it because, again, who's the event organizer? Oh, it's special ed. You see, he can't even put his real information on there. There's nothing in this contract that has his information, that has the business entity or anything that is official at all in any way. At least Mr. Johnson, when he does the 21 convention, has the business entity and those types of things listed in his contract. Now, with that said, the contract plainly states that if special ed cancels it, and this is important, if he cancels the wheelchair race after he takes your money, you do not get any refund. Now, I know that the disagreements between Mr. Miller and his flunkies, like special ed, versus Mr. Johnson and the 21 brand, go far beyond these things. However, in the manosphere, the truth still has value, which is the entire basis of red-pilled wisdom. It's uncomfortable, verifiable truths. You can either live with the comfortable lie, or you can deal with the uncomfortable truth, whatever that truth may be. And this isn't a social justice, prostitute my truth scenario. We're talking about objective facts. Now, while many in the special ed versus Anthony Johnson controversy have taken sides, I have not. I have limited this video to the verifiable facts with but one difference. I want you, the viewer, not to take my word for it. Go to the websites. Go to Mugshots Online. Go to arrest.org. Go to bustedmugshots.com and search for special ed there yourself. He goes by Edwin Hopkins. And don't be like many content creators such as Fresh and Fit or Terrence Popp, who made knee-jerk judgments without verifying the facts first. Because when you're wrong about something like this, you lose all credibility. Now, so we're clear. I'm not saying that Mr. Johnson is the most honest or forthright person out there, especially as a PUA whose community lionizes dark triad traits. But regarding the issues I've raised, these aren't just quote-unquote my truth. They are the truth, verifiably so. Also, my goal here isn't to disparage special ed, or anyone else for that matter. In fact, the information I've presented here isn't mine. I found it elsewhere. My goal is to warn others about what I perceive as another con artist in the manosphere community. So in closing, if you want to do business with or support a man who's been arrested for trying to pass bad checks George Floyd style, or stolen others' identities for financial gain in violation of North Carolina criminal law, you be my guest. But remember, When you get burned or you end up with egg white or anything else on your face because you went all in to support what appears to be a career con man, never forget, I warned you. I'm DDJ, and this special ed public service announcement is your dose of misandry today.